Hi class, this assignment's going to be about drawing negative spaces, and I want to just start off by explaining the difference between positive shape and negative space. So positive shape is any shape or object distinguished from the background, and negative space is the unoccupied areas or empty space surrounding the objects or subjects or figures in a composition. This shows it pretty simply, a positive drawing, and this is the negative space. This is a funny old kind of psychological experiment about this, where you see potentially two faces right here, and also the outline of a vase. And it's kind of a pulling and pushing back and forth. Some people can't see both. Some people can only see the faces or the vase. Some people can see them both, but it's pushing and pulling back and forth, whatever is the background. Is the background white and there's black faces, or is it a white vase on a black background? There was an artist named M.C. Escher who played with this idea a lot, and he liked to make very mathematical, kind of well-rendered, drafted drawings like this, where the spaces become something, and he plays with the figure-ground relationship, it's called. Like this is playing with the figure-ground. Which one's the background? Which one's the figure? He was filling the whole thing, making it interesting, and he adapted things, not realistic necessarily, but naturalistic. He did a lot of different versions of this. It's seen also in the world of design quite a lot. People use negative space to be an interesting thing. This one with the Penguin and Batman, and book covers like Peter and the Wolf, classic one. This is a film cover too. So it's used in illustration to make it interesting sort of way, to kind of get ideas across. And then in different ways like printmaking here, this is playing with the idea of, playing logs, the rings on a log for a fun type of thing. Well, we're going to use it in drawing, and I just want to make sure you clearly know what we're talking about. This is from a book called Kurt Worth, Designer. These are his drawings. This is the negative space. Okay, so you'll see that it's all the space around the figure, fully solid, right? Just making sure we're clear about that. So your assignment is going to be to create one of these type of drawings. You're going to create it by carefully measuring and drawing the contours of the negative space. You're not doing a drawing and then filling it in. You're actually carefully doing the drawing. By focusing on the negative space. And then you're going to fill it in with a flat value, which is like a tone. It'll be of compressed charcoal, so it's going to be black. And you're going to be leaving the positive space objects as white on the paper. You're going to need a charcoal pencil and compressed charcoal, kneaded eraser. You could actually just use, instead of a charcoal pencil, I'll say actually use a 2H pencil for the sketching, and compressed charcoal, kneaded eraser, and 18 by 24 drawing paper. Here's some examples of students doing it in different ways. So they drew these spaces. This is what they drew in class. They observationally measured and drew the spaces and filled them in. And then that chair emerged out of it. They didn't trace the chair. They drew all the spaces. It's to get you to get away from your symbol system and to also think about the overall shape of something, which is called the gestalt. That word, gestalt. Gestalt, the overall shape of something. So it's to help you think about Gestalt theory too. Okay, let's see some more examples of this. This is a play structure done this way. You'll notice wherever two positive shapes overlap, there's no line work in between, right? We know here with this slide, for example, that there would have been a distinguishing line here between the slide and the background of the play structure, but they left it completely alone wherever it overlaps. So they're just paying attention to these shapes around and drawing them. And you'll see that it's interesting because the figure, this playground structure, comes out of that. It emerges like this drum kit. They didn't draw the lines where the bass drum interacted with the toms and the snare drum. You'll see that if you do a drawing that has interesting shapes and spaces, it'll be much more successful. You can't just do something basic like a cup, otherwise it's not very interesting. So for this assignment, you're going to have to do a plant or a tree. I recommend if you have a plant of some sort inside, then it won't move as much if it's in a pot. If not, though, you can do a tree and you have to just observe it. It's an interesting way to go about this is you just begin at the top or wherever you want. You can still use like a basic measurement, like a basic unit of measurement, and compare things like, okay, that compared to this right here, and you measure the space. You can block it all out like this big of a space, and then go in and do the contour of the space. Block out the shapes though. You still don't forget all the things you've been learning. Okay, this is a good example. The vase got a little off, obviously, but still there's a lot of detail, and it's like an accurate contour drawing on the edge, but you're drawing with the compressed charcoal. So you're sketching it out, and then once you're getting up to the edge, you're actually taking your compressed charcoal, which has a thicker line, and you're going filling it in, and then after you do it, you can use the side of your charcoal and fill it in. You want an even tone throughout the whole thing. Okay? Show you some examples of things that didn't work quite well. They're good drawings, but they weren't successful because they didn't follow directions. This is a really nice drawing of the bike, but they should have filled in all this white area where the arrow is up here. Let's say you had a giant piece of paper this big and you had your drawing, and you could actually draw a box around it, fully around your object, and then fill it in if it was small. But really I want you to use up the entire sheet of paper and do this so it's a big drawing and fill it all in. So don't leave this type of stuff. That's a craftsmanship issue. This is an example of they didn't smooth out. This is not an even tone here. I said flat. Flat in this sense means not with bumps and variations, but even tone. You can see how it's all sketchy and lighter and darker. They probably try to use their charcoal pencil instead of the compressed charcoal and getting it really even. So that's the problem there for craftsmanship. This one works pretty well, but they included line work. See all that line work? They should have let these things merge together and not put the line work in. Same with this one, pretty much all good, except for when they got up here and they didn't like that was going to become that shape, so they ended up putting one line in. So they shouldn't have included that. There's an artist who does really interesting work with this idea. Her name is Kara Walker. She's a black artist, and she makes a lot of work about the ways in which segregation in the South has affected people through cut paper installations, and she uses this idea of a positive shape becoming fully solid to work with that idea and to critique American history. Really beautiful work and installations. So the difference between these things is this would be like a drawing you do in charcoal. You would fill it in solid positive shape and then negative space. Sometimes I have my students do this where they do multiple drawings, but you're only going to be doing one where you do not this. You're just going to be doing the negative space. So I just wanted to show the difference. Drawing of a positive shape. This is filling in that positive shape with charcoal, and this is with negative space. So your drawings are going to be of plant material, like a plant or a tree, and you're going to be filling in the negative space. If you don't own one, then you can go outside or look outside your window and draw one that way. Okay? If you have one that you can put on your desk or table that's a potted plant, that will may be a little easier because you won't have wind, but it's up to you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and look at the different videos I have for you in the module. They'll explain a lot of things as well. I'm going to pull up the module so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is student view. If you go into the modules, you'll go down to week 12, where we're at already, and you're going to watch this lecture that you're watching. Then there's a video that I have, a short video that explains negative space. Interesting. An artist draws the negative spaces around a pair of scissors. You're not going to do it the way she's doing it with ink, but I like the video because it kind of helps you understand a bit more of it. Then you're going to watch a video about kneaded erasers. That'll give you a little more information to use those. Compressed charcoal. These are just 2-minute videos. I like this time-lapse video of drawing an object because it helps you kind of see the difference. It's 2 minutes. And then you're going to want to look at the last things. And then this is your assignment here. Draw a plant or tree, but only draw the negative space around it. Use your observational methods. All the negative space should be filled with a flat, even tone of black like we talked about. They will be black shapes on the page. Draw it realistically using all your observational skills. What does realistically in this case means? It means the shapes of the black tones, the black shapes being realistic. Should be about 5 hours on this. It's 1 week of lab time. It's to accurately capture the negative space and fill them with an even tone. You want your 2H pencil for sketching, compressed charcoal, kneaded eraser if you make mistakes, and your 18 by 24 inch drawing paper. Clear photographs of scans of your drawings. Some people have not been submitting those, so make sure when you submit them that I can really see them. On a neutral background, well lit, and then you're going to submit the drawing to the critique as well. Okay, flat is smooth and even tone. Tone is the quality of brightness or deepness of a hue. We talked about negative space and positive shape. So that's going to take you through this whole project. I'm looking forward to seeing your results, and I hope you guys are doing well. If you have questions, please feel free to ask and reach out to me. I hope you take care, and I'll talk to you soon.